All right, I came across this little metal piece at the thrift store. It was $3 and it had this weird spring on the side. I don't know if it was supposed to be an egg holder or some kind of just decorative piece. I figured it was missing something for sure, but I had this idea to turn it into a little bird's nest on the side where that little spring is. So the first thing I want to do is kind of push that edge down a little bit. It reminded me a little bit of a slinky. But I'm going to push it down just a little bit to make it more the correct size of like a bird's nest. And I had this idea to really just make it look like found pieces of cloth woven in. But the first thing I wanted to do was take some chalk paint. It's just like parchment colored chalk paint that I use all the time. And I'm just very lightly brushing it on everywhere. I'm not going too much on the springs, maybe just a little bit, because what you'll end up seeing is a lot of the spring will be covered with those cloth pieces you can see in the bottom right hand side of the screen here. But I'm just kind of doing this light, very, very light coat on top of this metal because I want the dark color of the metal to still show through, but just have a little bit of dimension and interest so it's not so flat. So I really was thinking something more of like a two-tone finish here. So I'm gonna let that dry. Usually when I do any kind of chalk painting, I go on top of it with a coat of matte Mod Podge. So that's what I'm gonna do next, is put this matte Mod Podge on top and let it dry. Once it is dried, I had this reindeer moss, but it was really dried out and sad looking. And I had this weird idea that I could take it. I always have these containers that I use for my paintbrushes, and I thought I could dip it in some of the water and just kind of wring it out and bring it back to life. And I will say, surprisingly, it did pretty well. I wrung a lot of the water out of it and then started drying it with just like a towel that I had. And a little bit of the green color came off of the moss as I was patting it dry, but I think it really made it more vibrant looking and more alive looking. It was just kind of starting to look grayish brownish and not very attractive. So that's a little tip for you, because I think it really did improve the color if you have some reindeer moss that is kind of faded. So now it's time to actually build the nest. So I have all these fun little strips. I tried to pick them in different color families, and then I have some floral, but different color families, but a similar kind of theme with this brown and green, kind of light beige, like semi-fall looking, but I'm not quite ready to go fall yet. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going to just take my glue gun and kind of start this on the edge. And I'm definitely, in this case, using my Dollar Tree finger protectors. I got these at Dollar Tree a long time ago, and I think you get 3 in a package. I have 3, so I'm pretty sure you get 3 in a package. But they have been a real lifesaver for me. There are a lot of times that I can put my hands on hot glue and it not really bother me, but every once in a while when I'm working, I will really burn myself. So I would highly recommend, if you're doing anything remotely like this, just go ahead and pick those up, because you never know when you're going to use them. If you do, like I have some burlap here, if you work a lot with burlap, you'll really appreciate having these finger protectors around. So I'm just kind of trying to make it look more natural, like a bird actually did create this little nest here. I've had bird nests in my yard before, seen them in trees, and a lot of them, depending on the bird, can have a lot of fun, funky, different stuff that, like, obviously they found anywhere to make the nest. So that was the idea and the inspiration behind this little bird's nest. So I'm just going to continue gluing on fabric strips. Like I said, I'm trying to cover a lot of the metal, but it doesn't really bother me too much that the metal is showing through. And I'm also trying not to make it look too perfect. I want it to look natural. And again, just trying to be careful with my glue gun and my fingers here. So that's what I'm going to keep working on here. So what you'll see when I have it finished up here is just several pieces that are covered up. And then I'm adding this greenery. Again, it's like maybe a little bit of a fall vibe, but not quite fall. I'm not quite ready to do that. It's still 100 degrees where I live, so not really ready to jump down that fall heavy path yet. But I'm going to stick these kind of in the sides, through the top, just to give it some interest. And you can see I still have my moss on the side that I haven't used yet, but I promise you, you will see it be added here really soon. And here's, if I felt like there was too much of a long stretch of cloth, I would use some moss to kind of cover it up. And as you can see, it's just giving it a really different fun vibe, and just something fun to make it look, like I said, a little more found, natural, kind of whimsical, maybe a little bit of like kind of fairy tale-ish. My mind kind of went, oh, this is how it would look in something like a Sleeping Beauty character. One of the little birds in Sleeping Beauty would make a bird's nest like this. So I added a whole bunch here. And the cool thing about reindeer moss, if you don't know, you can actually cut it down. It's not going to completely fall apart. So I wanted to add just a little bit coming out of the top, again, to show that color element at the top, the bottom, on the sides. And the next thing I needed to do was track down some birds. And I don't know about you guys, but I have always had a really hard time finding really nice looking birds. So I actually found this set of birds on Amazon, and there's 12 here, or no, sorry, yeah, 12 here, and they look pretty nice. It was like $11.99 for 12 of them, so I figured I would take one of these birds, and as you can see, there's red, there's orange, there's more than neutral. I went neutral with this guy. I just felt like this little nest warranted more of a neutral bird, but if you wanted a seasonal thing, you know, that orange one would be beautiful around, you know, Halloween or something like that. The red at Christmas. So really good deal on these on Amazon, because I've tried several craft stores and the birds are usually too bright, or you only get like one in a package, so then you don't know how many birds you need. And if you make a lot of bird's nest things like I do, you need to keep birds on hand. So I'm just adding this guy in here and giving him a little home. And then I thought about it. There's this little hook on the side. Again, I have no idea what this piece was, but I thought it would be really fun to add a little sign. So I had these old rub-on transfers. I have not jumped on the rub-on transfer bus like everyone else has. I'm still using some that I've had for a very long time. These are like from a scrapbooking kit that I have. So I'm just going to add this that says Discover. I thought it was really cute. I'm going to add it on top of this scrapbook paper piece of cardboard. And sorry, it's a little tough for you guys to see. So I just kind of moved it up here. But it's just a typical rub-on transfer. Again, I've had these for a really long time and just hung on to them. And I'm actually really glad I did, because here's a great time to use that. You could hand paint anything you wanted on the sign. You don't have to use a rub-on transfer, but that's what I did. You know, any kind of fun little piece to hang from that hook. That was really my goal. So here is the little sign. I added some more of that cloth on the back and a little hanger. And I'm also going to add like a little tiny flower to the corner of it, and just hot glue that down and then hang it from that little hook. And this is just a fun little project. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, hope it inspires you. Thank you.